Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani may now be in the driver's seat to run America's biggest city. Mamdani declared victory over former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Blue City's Democratic mayoral primary yesterday. And some are viewing his win as a message to the wider Democratic Party, which may push them to go all in on far-left candidates. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Compagno, here with my co-host, Harris Faulkner. And also joining us today, Molly Line, Fox News correspondent, Noah Tishby, Israel's first special envoy for combating anti-Semitism and best-selling author, and Lawrence Jones, co-host of Fox and Friends. Now, the 33-year-old state assemblyman held a commanding lead over the three-term ex-governor all night long. Cuomo conceded in Tuesday's primary after trailing by roughly 70,000 votes. The New York Post asking for a lifeline on today's cover, calling Mamdani's victory a, quote, political earthquake, not just for the city, but for the entire state of the Democratic Party. And this might be why. Here are just some of his plans for New York City. Watch.
And our police force should not be assisting ICE.
Defund the NYPD and refund all of these different social services.
I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce.
I'll freeze the rent for millions of tenants, make buses fast and free, and deliver universal childcare. And before you ask, I'll pay for it by taxing the rich.
The mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism.
Mamdani was endorsed by key progressives like Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. AOC pushed for voters to choose his ultra-liberal policies. And now that her endorsement helped lock in his likely nomination, it may signal a path for AOC with voters in 2028. Political commentator Chris Cillizza put it this way.
If I'm Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who, as I mentioned, endorsed Mamdani, and I see this result, I am thinking this is terrific for me. It shows that there's energy in the liberal activist base of the party. It shows that the establishment is crumbling, right? All these politicians who are not AOC, other than Bernie Sanders, are in some way, shape, or form part of the establishment, right? Josh Shapiro or Gretchen Whitmer or Gavin Newsom, all these people have spent years in elected office. If I'm looking at this, I am thinking this bodes very well for me. It suggests that mad as hell Democratic voters are not going to just default back to a Joe Biden-like figure in 2028.
Noah, politics aside for the moment, to me, far more frightening and far more stark than his progressive policies and plans with no backup, his lack of experience, et cetera, is his blatant and rife anti-Semitism.
Yes, it's horrific, to be honest with you. And this is not just terrible for Israelis and for the Jewish community. This is terrible for Americans. Let me start with the first thing that, to me, is the most violent and the most vile, which is his whitewashing of what Intifada is about. So he keeps saying that globalized Intifada means something else for different people. That is not true. I have lived through 2 Intifadas. I know exactly what they mean. An Intifada means a violent uprising against the Jews. It means car bombing and bus bombing and ramming through people with cars. It means stabbing and shooting. That's what that means. And to globalize that means to take into America and into Western civilization what we have been through in the Middle East. That's number one. Let's take the other thing, right? He's talking about the Holy Land Five. In his rap song in 2017, he said, I'm in love with the Holy Land Five. So let's explain what the Holy Land Fives are. They are convicted criminals that have been convicted in 2008 for material support for Hamas. In 2001, the Holy Land Foundation was actually dismantled. In 2001, it was shut down. And in 2008, they were convicted. These 5 people were convicted for supporting Hamas. He is saying that he is in love with those people and asking you to look them up. So I say, absolutely look them up. That guy is so radical. He might be some sort of a Trojan horse, not just for Marxism, which is what he's actually saying, but for jihadism. He is supporting the concept of this. He refuses to acknowledge Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. He's very coy about this, right? So when he goes on national television, he goes, well, yes, Israel has the right to exist. But when asked on the debate stage, do you think Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state, he refuses to answer. This is a terrible news, not just for Jews, for every single American and everybody who supports Western values. It's horrible.
And Lawrence, it's why it's so shocking for you and I that live here, too. This is an individual who refused to condemn the Holocaust twice. And now all of a sudden he's the front runner for the Democratic Party here. What message does this send about the landscape currently?
Well, it shows that the Democratic Party hasn't learned a lesson from the prior election. It's not common sense. New York has to decide if they want to be an American city or they want to be a socialist city. Some of his policies, he wants a rent freeze. He wants city-run grocery stores. He wants to defund the police. Now, we tried that experiment, and we saw how that worked in New York City. He said if Netanyahu comes to New York City, he's going to have him arrested. Now, when Tom Homan was trying to work with the NYPD to arrest the criminals, he got up all in his face. He also wants free buses, a $30 minimum wage, $70 billion for housing. None of this is going to work. It's going to bring the city into even more debt, and people are going to move to my great state of Texas and Florida. But again, the voters get to decide. Either you can have him or you can get someone a little bit moderate in Adams or Sliwa who's running as a Republican. But this right here, it may work for New York City, but not for the rest of the country. And
Harris, we can put up this on the wall here. We have this platform that Lawrence just articulated. And, you know, I always sort of credited New Yorkers. I thought we were a little bit smarter than that. When someone promises free buses and free everything, I mean, this isn't an 8th grade president campaign. This is mayor. And somehow people are falling for this, again, under the veneer of a faux jihad. I mean, it is just frightening right now. But none of this makes sense either.
Yeah, I give him a lot more credit than that. I don't think it was an 8th grade campaign. I don't agree that people don't think those policies can work. You know why? Because Democrats aren't selling policy. He is. I think the greatest danger for Republicans right now in a city and state like New York, because it's turning more red and red and red. They got to jump in now, get in there, back their candidates. You saw Trump for governor. You saw him backing Jack Ciattarelli over in New Jersey. I mean, you've got to kind of, I know that's the neighbor next door, but it's an opportunity for Republicans to really jump in the water here. What he's selling is policies, and they're horrible policies. And Noah gave us an example politically what this could look like, and personally as a Jewish American what it looks like. But for all of us, this is very communist. This is beyond socialism. Yeah. But look at who's at his side, AOC, who does nothing really for her district here in New York. But what they do together is they fund. They come up with dollars. They do. And when he says a city-run grocery store, he's talking about communism. He's talking about the government running things. How much better is the government feeding your family than you? I mean, we have food stamps and those types of programs that come with restrictions. He wants no IDs. Don't pay for your busing. It's already dangerous enough to get on public transportation in New York City without knowing who's going to be your neighbor. He doesn't want to vet anybody here. That's going to be a problem. But running as an independent in this country, we don't have a high percentage of winners in that category anywhere you look. So Cuomo, I don't know if he's going to do it. If he couldn't get through a primary against this guy, I don't think he can beat him. But Adams, as an independent, you got to pick a lane, buddy.
Molly, talk to us about what this represents, because to Harris's point, so this assemblyman, frankly, has zero experience of any type of value, right? He comes out, he has these platform policies without saying how to pay for them other than tax the rich. It feels very neophytic and sort of echo chamber insular, which is typical of those far left radicals. But the reality is he has amassed an incredible amount of followers, and somehow it worked. So apparently experience 0, but social media influencer attractiveness is a 10 on the scale. What does this bode for campaigns moving forward?
Yeah, what does it bode for campaigns all across the country? Is this more evidence of the progressive side rising, of the left rising in the Democratic Party in these Democratic circles? And what will this mean for candidates and races, Democratic races all across the country? As people are promising in these various districts to see the liberals rise, to fight off the moderates, to hold primaries. We'll see how that ends up when we hit at these general elections. And as you mentioned, this is just the primary in New York City. One quick thing, when the opposing team is celebrating with glee about a win, you have to ask. So the Republican campaign committee, the National Republican Campaign Committee, said this: the new face of the Democratic Party just dropped straight out of a socialist nightmare. If you engineered the modern Democratic Party in a lab, you'd get Zohran Mamdani, anti-Semitic, anti-police, anti-American. Every vulnerable House Democrat will own him, and every Democrat running in a primary will fear him. That's the NRCC spokesman, Mike Marinella.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.